feel so comfortable with you. I feel like I'll always love you. I'll always love you. Always.
Game 7, baby. Here we go. The Indiana Pacers demolish the Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 6, forcing a deciding game in the NBA Finals. We'll get to that, NBA trade news, some baseball trade news, and a whole lot more in the world of combat sports. It is going to be an NBA-focused, but a very busy Couch Potato Diary, presented by Sea of Dead, and it starts live right now. Welcome, everyone, to Couch Potato Diary. We are live and stunned still. Quite a few minutes removed now from Game 6 of the NBA Finals, but absolutely stunned. Let's get the fun stuff out of the way first. This show, as always, presented by Sea of Dead. Check out seaofdead403.ca for the awesome Calgary swag. Got this Cannons hat here. Haven't taken it off since the streams this afternoon. So check that out over at seaofdead403.ca. We also, it's a late night stream, so you gotta have the energy. Head over to swiftenergy.gg. Use the code PKPrimetime for the 25% off. Let me know in the chats what you guys are thinking, what we're feeling coming off of a Game 7 coming off of a Game 6 that's going to lead to a Game 7 here in the NBA Finals. It is wild that this is happening, but we are here, so it's going to be a fun ride. Like I said, let me know what you guys feel here in the various chats, and of course we're streaming on a few different spots. Couch Potato Diary on the YouTube channel. Also, let me know how it's looking on twitch.tv/primetimepk and over at kick.com/primetimepk as well. So all of that to say, we're going to do the regular stuff at the end as well. Got a lot more sports talk to get to, but throughout the night, whenever you are feeling like you want to talk some NBA and talk about the finals, throw that in there, because that is obviously our main focus here. But let's kick it off. The NBA Finals going to a 7th and deciding game. The Indiana Pacers have forced Game 7 of the NBA Finals with an absolutely dominant victory over the Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't remember what the final score ended up being, but it is probably not indicative of how much of an ass-kicking this game really was. The Pacers... It didn't start out this way, but the Pacers controlled this entire game. And it felt like everything was really difficult for OKC to get. Offensively, they were really struggling. They couldn't hit any shots. Nothing was coming easy when they were trying to get into the paint. They were hitting some tough shots early, but that really wears on you when you are on the road and in dealing with a crowd that was insane in the way that Indiana crowd was. And for the Pacers offensively, they got everything they wanted. There was everything was falling for this team. That they were very, very comfortable out there just making shot after shot after shot after shot. That they were feeling good about what was happening out on that floor for them tonight. So like you could really see the different levels of comfort that we were dealing with these two teams out on that floor tonight in Game 6. And like I said, it didn't start that way. It looked like this was going to be a difficult matchup for the Indiana Pacers. They couldn't hit from distance to start. They start 0 on the night. They absolutely couldn't stop anything. Defensively, it looked a little rough. And then Rick Carlisle with the very well timed timeout as Crash Andrews entering the chat. Always a favorite. Shout out to Crash for hanging out here on a Thursday night. It was a well timed out, by Rick Carlisle. And it settled everything down. They made a couple of shots, and then they were relentless from there. And that was another aspect of this game. I don't know if it was the biggest reason. You hate to just sum every game up as, these guys made, these guys missed. Basketball. What are you going to do? Right? You don't want to sum it up in just that way. But the Pacers were on fire from 3. And the Thunder weren't. The Thunder really did struggle as the game went on, shooting from distance, and to start the third quarter, shooting at all. But the threes were falling for Indiana. And like I said, just everything was coming easy to them. And they were creating that too. That it wasn't just, oh, wow, look at this. Something fell into our lap. Not the case. That this was a defense that got them back into this game. It was so hard for Oklahoma City to get to the rim, and they are a team that kind of needs to do that, right? Like they don't have the insane three-point shooting that some other teams have. They are a team that needs to attack. They can hit from mid-range, but they love getting to the rim. Williams loves attacking and getting into the paint. Chet Holmgren, same thing. They need to get into that area, and the Pacers just clogged it all up, just daring them to beat them from distance. And so that's something that's going to have to change. And you would presume it would, going onto a home floor out in Oklahoma City, but they were daring them to make these shots. They really clogged up the paint and just did not allow anything easy at the rim. And it forced a lot of misses. And RJ brought it up on the ESPN broadcast tonight, where it was a lot of long misses that turn into fast breaks. Like they're basically turnovers because they come from so far away. And what is one of the first things you're taught when you're rebounding is a long shot equals long rebound. And that's what we had in this game. It was boing all the way back. And hey, look at that. It's a 3-on-2 already back the other way. And now it's in our net. And it wasn't just one or two guys. Like Nembhard was spectacular defensively in this game. Siakam was really, really good on both ends of the floor. But it was everyone. It was McConnell with a couple really good reads and some steals, creating havoc. It was Turner who was helping to prevent guys from getting into the lane and altering shots. It was everyone on down the line. Halliburton with a couple of good reads and a couple of good steals. He gets the steal that leads to probably the most emphatic moment of this game, and that is Siakam's poster at the end of the second quarter, which is when this game was done. Like that really felt like it. Doris said with about 2 minutes left, she was like, it would be huge if OKC could get this down to 10. And at that point it was 14. Instead it got up to 20 because they couldn't do anything. And it was Indiana smothering defense again, and it's a turnover, and then Halliburton with the pass, and he does the quick spin away, and Siakam with the posterizing moment, or the meme, or the TikTok, or whatever the current vocab would be for a poster. It was Siakam getting one, and absolutely throwing it down to give the Pacers some momentum, and that was it. From there on in, that was it. They just completely controlled this basketball game, and it was done from there. McConnell was another big piece of this. He was the guy who was making the impact, the spark at both ends of the floor. Just so smart in reading the play, seeing what he can get, seeing what he can't, knowing when to back out, knowing when to attack. Defensively, he was everywhere. He was everything everywhere all at once, right? Like he was pestering when he was on the ball. When he was off the ball, he was always lurking and always ready to come in and get a steal if SGA was stuck backing someone down or the clamps were really put on him. They forced Indiana into a lot of one-on-one matchups, and defensively they were good enough to stay in front of them one-on-one, and so it bogged the defense down. Bogged the offense down because they couldn't really maneuver in any way, and they're trying to get in, and then a help side defender comes in, boop, steal, and off they go. They did a fantastic job all night of just dictating how every moment of this basketball game was going to be played. And the most important thing, we talked about it in the brief preview that we did, which, you know what, don't bother going back and watching that one, because not a lot of it's going to hold up all that well. But you look at how concerned everyone was about Halliburton's calf coming into this game, to the point where I was like, I don't know why they played him in the second half of game 5, because you're risking him blowing out an Achilles here in game number 6. It didn't start out looking good. He looked uncomfortable. There was a play early in the first quarter. He gets Hartenstein on him in a just kind of an ISO there, and normally you would think with him, like, okay, he can cook. And they were saying, like, oh, he's just trying to get to his mid-range game. It's like, I know what it looks like when Halliburton's trying to get to his mid-range game. That was him trying to get to his mid-range game without his leg exploding. It was very hesitant. It was like, oh, should I? No, I'm not gonna. But not in a hesitation way, in a type of a way. And so and I'll come back. And okay, well, I'll kind of, and then the shot, it just looked off. But as the game went on, he looked better, which was not how I anticipated that going when you're dealing with a calf injury. So that was a gigantic boost for him. And the good thing is that they allowed him to ease into the game. Despite the 8-2 run to start, they go on an 8-0 run themselves to take the lead back, and it's Nembhard hitting a big shot. It's Siakam creating and getting to the rim. It's Turner coming up with a couple of big moments in this game early on that allowed Halliburton to ease into the game, to ease into the flow, figure out what he could do, figure out what he couldn't do, and how best he could contribute in this way. It was excellent. It was just absolute excellence. But again, back to one of the original points, McConnell, again, putting out some fantastic minutes and allowing them to rest Halliburton more and more and more. So now we go to a game 7. It still feels like it is advantage OKC. Like that home court there is just like very few things in sports. And so I do still think that is Oklahoma City's to lose, basically, right? Like that feels like this is the still the Thunder series at this point. But that was an ass kicking tonight. And I understand that a lot of times, like, okay, well, the role players are going to play better at home, and that's where they're going to get theirs, is when that happens, and all of a sudden the shots that weren't falling in game number 6 do fall in game number 7, and hey, look at that, we have a lovely trophy here at the end of the night. But I think it would be a little oversimplistic to try to roll with that. I'm trying to look at the odds right now. The Thunder are, sorry, it's late. The Thunder are 8.5-point favorites going into Game 7. So there's not an overly strong belief that the Pacers can do this again. And that seems a little unfair to them because the shooting part, it's probably not going to stay that hot, right? Like that's probably not going to be a sustainable way that this team can win, is to be that absurdly hot from distance. But the defense could be, right? Like, defense should be. So I think that this will be a very, very close 7th game. Ultimately, I do think OKC gets it done. They did look young again in this game, and they did look spooked in this game. There were some moments at home where that looked the same as well, but I think being back at home for that game is so massive for the Thunder to be in that spot and have those comforts for them. The shots will fall a little bit easier at home, and that momentum won't be able to build as much for the Pacers at home. Now, these are all things we said before, and then the Pacers stole game 1, right? And so who knows? But I still think this is Oklahoma City in 7. But the fact that we are here is a gigantic win for the Pacers. And look, they're not going to hang a banner for took the number 1 team in the NBA to a game 7 if they don't get this one done. But I vividly remember being on the radio out here in Calgary, and we're talking about the series, and someone said, I'm thinking Thunder in 5, but I'm a little worried about that. It's like, the only thing you have to worry about with Thunder in 5 is if it's Thunder in 4, because it's not going 6. And it's not. It's going 7. So huge congratulations to the Pacers for doing that and continuously proving that they are for real. Oh, we got Toxic in the chat. Yes, a late night. It's PK After Dark, if you will. But yeah, after the NBA game, I've been on the radio a bunch, so kept getting caught up on some podcasting here as well. So we're going to get into that in the next couple of minutes here. But yeah, doing the late night thing out on Twitch, Kick, and over on YouTube.com /@ Couch Potato Diary. We'll get rid of that someday. But for now, that's where we're at. But yeah, keep the chats coming. Like I said, Crash in the chat. We got Toxic now as well. The returning favorite, who is I'm sure crushing it at the new gig that he has right now. So yes, thank you to all who are tuning in tonight. Like I said in there before, we do have some other sportsy things that I want to discuss on the show this evening. But any NBA Finals thoughts that you have, throw them in the chat, and we will absolutely discuss them as we go along. We are going to stick in the world of basketball here for a second, because there was a big trade earlier this week as the Memphis Grizzlies send Desmond Bane to the Orlando Magic in a sizable move in the NBA. And as with most things, I think there are positives, I think there are negatives. So let's look at all aspects of the first really big move of the offseason. So, the Memphis Grizzlies surprise a lot of people and make a very big move by sending Desmond Bane off to the Orlando Magic in exchange for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Cole Anthony, 4 first-round picks, and a pick swap. The picks in 2026, 2028, and 2030, and then, again, the pick swap in 2029. Let's start with the Magic side of this. I think it is a good move. There are going to be little dots on that as we go along, but this is a good move because when you just look at this basketball team, this is the missing piece. When everyone is healthy, still, this team struggles incredibly on the offensive side. They really struggle shooting the basketball, and Bane is one of the best shooters in the sport. So, seems to make sense that this would help them out, and it does. So I think this is a really, really good move in terms of you have a team that is on the cusp and you have a team that is just about ready to break through in a big time way. They just need some scoring help. This is about as good as you'll find scoring help in basketball right now available. We'll see how the rest of the offseason goes. But Desmond Bane, it fits. It fits so well. Like, just almost if you could draw up a dude in a lab to see what this team needed on the offensive side, it is that guy. And so it seems to make sense. Defensively, he's not that dude, but you don't have to worry about it because this team is elite defensively. Like, you think you are seeing elite defense in these NBA Finals, and you are. But it pales in comparison to the defense that we are seeing that we were seeing throughout the year out in Orlando. And so I don't think you have to worry about that. I think you have a team that can more than make up for the shortcomings that you may have with him there. It's looking like things might be a little choppy. So if you guys are still listening, let me know if this is all, at the very least, sounding okay. Hopefully it is all working on everyone's ends there. It makes sense to do this move right now. You have Tatum's injury, you have uncertainty in New York, because that coaching search is a disaster, Milwaukee, and in Cleveland. And so it just feels like the East is wide open right now. And they have the pieces on their team that make them very dangerous going into next year. The fact that they made the playoffs at all this year, given the injuries and the issues that they had, that really does make this a dangerous team. So why not build on it? And you don't give up a ton off of your main roster, right? Like KCP was a disaster in his time in Orlando. Anthony is an interesting player to me still, but at this point is more of a backup one than anything else. So you really don't give up that much for a high-level shooter who fits the exact needs of your franchise. I do worry it is a touch of an overpay because I still think when you look at, okay, roster stuff, whatever, that's a lot of picks that just got sent out the door. And now you're hoping that you don't care about those picks, right? But it's still, in the grand scheme of things, is probably too much to give up for Desmond Bane. Again, not roster-wise, but pick-wise. And if it's the missing piece and they're hanging up a championship banner, again, they're not going to say 2026 NBA champions, but to do that, they had to give up more draft picks than you would want for Desmond Bane, and may have overpaid a little bit slightly to address a glaring need. It doesn't say all that. The banners aren't that big. It would drag down to the floor. It is just champion. And so if you get that, fantastic. But I do think that because we are seeing a cautionary tale in the wild right now with the New York Knicks, you do have to kind of think about this one a little bit. They made the major move last year to go out and get Bridges. At the time, I thought, home run. Nailed it. Exactly what this team needed. He is the final piece to a team that was competitive, and now you add another high-level player to your team, and he goes off, and this team is going to be dangerous and could be one that gets over the hump here in the Eastern Conference. Fast forward a year, Bridges has a very disappointing season, and now the Knicks are, I'm not going to say out of moves, because they could still make a move with Giannis, but it is going to take significant pieces off of their roster to try to go out and make a move now at this point. So I love an all-in move. I love it when a team is like, you know what? We're a good basketball team, so let's go be great, shall we? But I do caution that just making a move because, well, we needed it. So who cares about draft capital? I still think you have to. Just a little bit. Anyway, I still think you have to there, just a little bit. On the Memphis side, a lot of people are saying that this signifies a teardown, and it certainly looks like it does. With the return that they got back, this looks like a team that should be going into a rebuild mode. But there's a world where you could just run it back, right? Like Ja Morant and Triple J as a core, okay, there are concerns, right? It is not flawless, but to build around that, a lot of people excited about Pippen, Edie, I think, can still figure it out. You have Clark there as well. Like, there are pieces there, and you add an interesting one in Cole Anthony and a bunch of draft capital. Like, all right, let's try to roll for it now. I do wonder, though, if this is a team that is just like a team offered them a big haul for what they considered the third most important piece on their team, and they're like, sure, okay, we'll figure this out. Like, we got all off season. We got a lot of things to work with now. Let's see if we can make a move and make this team better. The reason people are saying that it might look like this could be a teardown is because this looks like a team that should tear it down. They looked like at one point, they looked like a team that the sky was the limit, right? Like, there was just no touching the Memphis Grizzlies and the bright future that was ahead of them. And instead, Ja turns very unreliable. Triple J develops, but doesn't hit the ceiling that a lot of people thought for him, and the West got a lot better. So you have some issues there. Now, on the flip side, like Chris Vernon was saying on The Ringer, this was a team that finished like 2 games out of third this year. Like, a couple bounces go your way, and you're hosting playoff games instead of playing in the play-in for the wonderful honor of losing by 50 to the team that ended up winning the West. I do understand that. I think that part is whistling by the graveyard a little bit. I think there are some pretty deep inherent flaws in this team, and they are in an interesting spot. They have a lot of fun things to work with on this team, but I do have some major concerns about just kind of the overall status of this team going forward. And one of them is Ja Morant. I'm planning on doing a bigger jaw thing a little bit later, in no small part because apparently the stream is a little laggy tonight. So at least the audio is sounding fine, according to Toxic, which I appreciate, because we are going to put this up as a podcast here in just a little bit. But on the jaw thing, just one thing I've been thinking about, it feels like we're going into a new era in the NBA because of the new aprons that they have that are basically acting as hard salary caps. And at this point, it is looking like you can maybe get away with really paying 3 guys. It's probably better off at 2 and then sprinkling the rest around. But like you look at right now, like the Celtics are paying 2 in Tatum and in Brown, and they tried to spread the wealth the rest of the way, and now you're looking at it as like, oh, they are so cap screwed. They have to figure this out and move it down. So, in a time where you can only really pay 2 guys, is that one of the guys you want to be paying? Is a guy who hasn't, like, he would have qualified for the new barrier of entry for the awards in the NBA like once in his career, and it seems like his style of play is not necessarily evolving to the new way that the NBA is being played. And it sucks because I like watching Ja. You know, I don't just like that every player has to be a cookie cutter or whatever, but the way he can attack and the aggressiveness that he plays with, it is a ton of fun to watch. But there are injury risks with that, and there are obviously some problems going on there as well. And so I can't believe I am saying this, but I don't know if you can win a championship paying Ja Morant what you need to pay Ja Morant, given the other cap inflexibilities that there are in the NBA world right now. So I think a very interesting discussion could be had around Ja Morant going forward in the NBA. We're going to call it here. I am not liking how laggy this is all looking, and it, if nothing else, is distracting me quite a bit. So for the second time today, we're stopping these before we're getting to a few of the subjects that we hoped to cover. But look for those as recordings a little bit later on throughout the week, and maybe even into next week as well. But again, check out cfdead403.ca for the great Calgary swag. Apologies, the video portion of this wasn't as awesome as we would want it to be. We'll get that figured out. The live streams return on Monday, and hopefully they'll be working. So thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your night.